Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ray. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm talking to my friend, trauma specialist Cassandra, about why so many people stay stuck repeating the same story over and over again. We also get into why advice such as just love yourself can be actually triggering. If you struggle with trauma, PTSD, or wonder why things haven't changed, such as why is it that you keep saying the same story if you have worked on your trauma? Well, watch this entire conversation. I think you'll see why this is the case and how you can actually start changing your life now. How you been, Cassandra?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How was your book release and all of that? Like how did that kind of unfold it? I know when you were putting that together, I was in a major transition to move to Asheville, so that's all I remember.
Yeah. It was an amazing experience. Like even writing the book, I just felt like a lot of pieces that I felt shame around were releasing. Parts
Hmm.
of my story that I felt like I couldn't share with other people because I felt like they would judge me.
Hmm.
A lot of pieces too, just like around maybe how I handled certain traumatic experiences I went through.
Hmm.
I just even judged myself harshly. But the launch was really beautiful. This woman that I met from the UK helped me, like handheld me through the end journey. We did a big launch in Miami, and I got to speak in front of a room of women, and it was just this really beautiful experience.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you
it was
actually
awesome.
flew out to do a book launch.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
I
really
didn't
beautiful.
do that. I did. My book came out, and I had a team behind it, but I didn't do anything in person. And the idea was to, where I was living at the time, to talk about it and maybe build a workshop around it and so forth. But that didn't come to fruition. Much more happened. I would say that's positive. But I'm working on book number two, and it's all around parenting. And
Ooh, that'll be
it
a good book.
so it's
Yeah.
funny how while the book was I wrote the book and honestly it wasn't like something that I was thinking of for 2 years. It was basically how do I put 20 to 30 years of my coaching and my life experiences into this book to be kind of a self breakthrough book, not just information. So it's kind of like a workbook as well, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a specific topic, like say like problem I was solving, like such as, you're on the rocks with your relationship to you're healing a heartbreak or something like that. So as I started writing the parenting book, I started having more fun because it was a specific thing I can
You're
address.
solving. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on chapter four. I haven't touched it in about a month and a half, but I'll have it done by probably this year. We'll see what happens.
Well, I really liked your book because I remember you sent it to me and I read it, the first one, and it just was really validating for me because a lot of the techniques you spoke about in the book, or
Mhm.
even some of the sessions you shared about clients, just confirmed the things that I have found that supported me through my journey as well, that I also share with clients. So it was just really great to read your book and just get that confirmation.
Oh, we'll do this now. She's talking about all it takes is
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah,
Where's
in
your
the book.
book?
Yeah, the
That's a,
book.
I didn't, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Like on that note, we decided to come together kind of last minute, spontaneously to talk about trauma and how it
Yeah.
relates to your work and how it relates to my work as well. Like on that note, like what did you pull from my book or like what did you see as useful, like specifically like with any particular clients?
Well, I also just like too, they had pictures in your book. I know it's so silly, but like visually just showing people stuff like so the grounding and then like with the trees and um holding of your energy and space. Like I like how you brought some of that in because I think that in my journey with healing, I ran into people that didn't incorporate the spiritual aspect.
Hmm.
And then that was when I knew that that person couldn't help me move forward in my healing journey
Hmm.
because they weren't even open to the spiritual aspect of it all. And so I like that you brought that in, even though you're also a therapist,
Hmm.
because it's a piece that I bring to my clients as well.
Yes, when I was doing this work, I wouldn't see myself as a therapist, but I guess the way that I communicate can sound like a psychologist.
Hmm.
And it, I think that the way I articulate myself maybe gives like a narrative to what's happening to the brain and so forth. But like who I am as a human being, a father, and how I
Hmm.
move through life definitely is connecting to metaphysics. So I've always tried to marry the two, like with, psychology and metaphysics. And that's kind of what you probably picked up in my
Hmm.
book. Because when people are going through, their own healing and all they know is betrayal and people telling them to trust them and that person violates them,
Yeah.
it could be a difficult journey to open themselves up to. So what's their map? Like what's the safe container for them to know and to trust that they can somewhat, you know, unpack all of those stories that have protected them, to become a new person. Because if they are healthy enough to stumble across one of our books or healthy enough to watch a YouTube video and go, you know what, I can change my life and I had a, a, a horrible past, then horrible past, then at least with that kind of container that maybe they can feel supported. I find people who don't have some spiritual connection that they're kind of in that dog eat world. There's no, it's like what,
Yeah.
they, all they're working with is what they've known.
Hmm. Yeah, I've actually supported people in opening up to the spiritual aspect. Like
Mhm,
before they worked with me, they were completely closed off, even atheist in a lot
mhm,
of ways, which means they were cutting themselves off to a lot of resources available to them. And through the process of working together, they began to like believe in something bigger than themselves, which also supported their healing journey.
mhm,
So it is a hard place to be when you're not open to that, for
mhm.
sure.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about which the topic was, is
Yeah,
healing
the
your
start.
trauma script. So do you have any of
Yeah.
that in front of you to bring up, or do you just want to kind of go for it?
Yeah, we could just go for it. I know that when I saw that title, it hit me because it also reminded me of someone I wish I would have seen speak in person, which is Wayne Dyer, because he would
Hmm.
always have that quote about like you change your story, you change your life or whatever.
Hmm.
And like I know that I used to get really frustrated with that quote,
Hmm.
um, because he made it sound like so easy.
Hmm.
And then like after actually going through a journey of transformation, like it makes more sense now. Because the stories really also become our belief systems and we get really locked into those. And then also because we have those belief systems and we have confirmation bias, we just keep attracting those same
Hmm.
experiences. It's kind of like a Shakespeare play. The same characters show up, just
Hmm.
changing their outfit or what they look like, but they're the same kind of personas. And so, really doing the work to shift those things is huge because it really alters your reality.
Hmm. Can you share in more details? Because I would love the listeners to hear this. Like for you and I, we might talk this way all the time, but
Yeah.
for someone who's new, wouldn't even know what that looks like understand that. So, for example, you brought up like you, even while writing the book, maybe you experienced some shame or fear of something, and then going through the process, it kind of somewhat healed itself. So I don't know if you want to bring up like what you've gone through, like your trauma, like actually what happened to
Yeah.
even when you were on this healing journey, where what kept you from moving forward completely, and then
Yeah.
where you are now because you actually are, you've changed the story. Like you said, you didn't use the word "I got triggered," but when you read that quote, it didn't resonate with you
Yeah.
because
It made me upset because it's
yes,
like, yeah, of course, this sounds great. And yes, I want it, but like, how? I was
that's
just like,
important,
oh,
Cassandra. That's very important because there's
yeah.
many people who are turned off by positive memes right now.
Hmm.
There are a lot of people position themselves as experts in this field, and they'll say things like,
That sounds
just think
cliche or
positively,
whatever.
or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And they're probably turned off. And then the other part is that you'll see people who supposedly have healed their trauma, like re-traumatize their clients, or they'll say things that doesn't sound in integrity, like there is just some type of mismatch to how they're showing up versus how they write.
Yeah, incongruency. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so my history is like if I want to take like I can give like little snapshots. My mom was in and out of abusive relationships. So one,
Yeah.
I witnessed her
Yeah.
being in different forms of abusive relationships.
Mhm.
She left my dad before I was born because he was an alcoholic. At 2, she was in another relationship with another man who I guess he was an ugly drunk.
Yeah.
And so they would fight and argue, and I guess he would get kind of violent. And there was an experience where I guess she moved me out of the way, and I fell and hit my eye on the
Mhm.
corner of the table, got a black eye. So I was sent off to foster care at 2 years old. They had also had a baby together, and so I had my little baby sister, but my mom was only able to fight to get me back, and while she was fighting to get me back, they took baby sister away.
Mhm.
And we haven't seen her since. So there's like that hole, right? Like where do I
It's still to this day, you've never seen her
like,
before?
yeah, I haven't seen her in person. We have found each other on social media, and she
Mhm.
did buy my book. However, we have never seen each other or given each other a hug since we were little. And I actually found pictures of me with her, holding her, smiling the other day, and it was like super precious.
Mhm.
Um, What's also interesting, the way the universe works, is I found out we actually ended up going to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in San Francisco at the exact time. So who knows, I probably passed by her in the hallway or in the computer lab and didn't even know it. So just kind of crazy.
That's awesome. That's like
Yeah,
a
it's
that's a
kind of
book
like
number two, or at least a couple chapters in there. Finding
yeah,
my lost little sister, you know what I mean? But finding
yeah.
myself, you know.
Yeah, so it's kind of just, these like also like whenever I've worked on that scene of like being in foster care, I used to have nightmares about it. It's because it's like it's pre-verbal, and so it's like feeling the sensations and things
Hmm.
connected to just like where's my mom, where am I kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And just not feeling safe in the world. And then my mom ended up in another relationship. She had another baby with another man, but this man, like everything started off great, but he was grooming me, and we had moved into this big house with him, and then he lost his job, and that's when everything changed because he was home with me all the time, and that's
Hmm.
when he sexually abused me for 3 years of my life. Um, and that goes into just like I talk about this in my book, like just how the system didn't really protect us as children.
Hmm.
How when I finally came forward to my mom, like we had to go through things like going to a gynecologist, which was also traumatizing because I was
Hmm.
only 8 years old, or even like that first therapist I went to just trying to tell me to like make the dolls do what happened and stuff.
Hmm.
So a lot of trauma and a lot of witnessing of trauma, like just my mom in these relationships. And so
Can,
I
can
feel
I
like,
can we elaborate on that a little bit, because that's
yeah,
an important piece.
yeah,
But I first want to say I'm sorry that you went through that experience.
yeah,
I know you're on the other side, but I just, I wanted to bring some light and compassion to that. What I would love to spotlight as you continue your story is the re-traumatizing, or let's say confusion, because there's going to be other people listening to this. I would say
yeah.
probably women, where they were told it was their fault,
Mm,
to they don't have a reference point of what is bad or good, or what is supposed to be done just with adults. So there's
mm.
confusion. And so
Lots
a
of
therapist might be
confusion.
trying to
Mm.
get you to say something, to elicit something to use in court or something. So in a way, like your children are put in a position to in the justice system and end up becoming more confused as if it's their
Mhm.
fault, and all the
Yeah.
arguing and all this attention on them is because of them. And what
Yeah.
most adults don't realize is that a child is processing a lot of new information for the first time.
Hmm.
And a lot of that information is very basic, such as, do I trust my environment? Do I trust these adults? To who am I supposed to listen to? Because this one person is supposed to be my dad or stepdad or my mother, and this happened to me. So they're going through a process in where, even though it is going to maybe bring justice and maybe someone behind bars and
Hmm.
potentially therapy, the whole experience itself can
Yeah.
actually reinforce the trauma, or
Yeah.
where it's not even healed, because now what the therapists miss is how the child truly feels and doesn't even trust him or her as a therapist.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, because then there was a custody battle, right? Because that was
Yeah.
his daughter, my
Hmm.
sister. Um, and what I witnessed was now all of a sudden she was going on visitations by herself with him. And I
Yes.
knew that he had started touching her because he
Hmm.
had took her to the bathroom instead of me
Yeah.
on a visit. And so I just felt like I made the wrong choice in sharing because now she's all by herself. And so I took that guilt on as well.
Yeah.
And then also, there was a holiday, Christmas morning. None of us wanted her to go with him. We're all crying. My
Hmm.
mom wouldn't open the door to him. And the police made her give my sister to him, even though we had already started this like case with the sexual molestation. And so
Wow.
the police officer made her go. And so we're all crying. Like I had to work on this scene a lot and it's still really sad. But like
Hmm.
it's like I it really made me look at like police or, the legal system, like it doesn't really protect us.
Hmm.
And then I felt wrong for bringing it up or sharing it because it felt like it didn't get better right away. Like it felt like things got worse.
Well, you can see why they're like the only thing that particularly women want to see is
The bad guy
justice in
get
regards to
what? Take it
The
away.
Epstein.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the Epstein files. I'm talking about where
Yeah, that
still
too.
today
Yeah.
there's
That's
this,
so crazy.
where all this information's out there,
And
but
nothing's
because
happening.
and
Yeah.
nothing's happened, no one's getting arrested.
Nobody's getting
Yeah,
the consequences of their actions. Yeah.
yeah. So it's
And
just
that
basically,
gets in the way of people even speaking up because it's like, well, what's the point?
yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to spotlight this because there are
Yeah.
people who've never had this happen, or men who just can't relate to, like, just get over it. This president or this administration's doing all of this great work and blah, blah, blah. But here are people who have raped women, have molested children, and you're basically gaslighting, you know, the fact that these things happened and they're still happening.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah, it's a
they're,
whole business. It's
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So sorry, I
No,
went to,
that's a good tangent. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So continue.
Um, so we finally got my sister away from him, but it,
Hmm.
it actually took him messing up, like not showing up to visitation so many times. Or oh no, actually, it took him kidnapping her from daycare. He came right into daycare and just kidnapped her, and it took us a couple weeks to get her back. And that's
Hmm.
actually what ended his ability to take her on his own. So then
Hmm.
it was visitation.
Hmm.
Um, and then eventually something happened with that too, and then she didn't have to go. But the fear of him showing up, like, was there all the time. We moved. My mom gave us my stepdad's last name to try to hide us.
Hmm.
Um, I remember just being on edge all the time, thinking I saw him somewhere.
Hmm.
Um, and so there's all that trauma, right?
Hmm.
But then also just witnessing my mom in relationships.
Hmm.
Even the stepdad, who's still my stepdad and the only dad I've ever known, he came in when I was 8. He came in when all this craziness was happening. Even their relationship was contentious, lots of fighting,
Hmm.
arguing, lots of him like yelling at us
Hmm.
as kids and just locking himself in the bedroom. And then my mom going on another tangent with like just not great friends and getting
Hmm.
involved in, drugs and stuff like this. And so I ended up, as I got older, getting into abusive relationships.
Yeah.
And the pattern continued. And it felt like I was just constantly trapped in hell. And I want to talk about one of the things, the shame things in the book that
Yeah.
really, like, it was my young idea. All these abusive relationships. There was one where I ended up pregnant and I was battling with this choice of abortion, not abortion, abortion, not abortion, because this guy was just awful. Like he was
Mm.
constantly cheating. He was like a player, whatever you want to call him. And I remember even heading to get the abortion and not wanting to go through with it and calling
Hmm.
him. And he was like, I don't want anything to do with you or that baby. And so, like, I went through with it, but a part of me died on the table that day, and something in me snapped.
Hmm.
And I was living in San Francisco with a bunch of roommates going to San Francisco State. And I just felt really broken. And this is when me and my roommates decided that we were just going to go become dancers. And my 20-year-old brain thought that was me getting my power back from men. But it became a trap because then
Hmm.
you build your lifestyle around this income. And I didn't know how to provide my lifestyle a different way. And so I felt trapped in that industry for a very long time. And what I thought was getting my power back was actually reinforcing my trauma.
Yeah.
So,
When you say dancer, you mean stripper, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I just want to be clear with that. Well, it's interesting
Yeah.
is that people are going to go, if you hear this part, they're going to go, oh my God. So we both have been dancers.
Yeah.
There's not many men who can say that. So I was a stripper also, but I didn't go down that path because of trauma.
Yeah.
However, I can validate what you just shared. Majority of the women who I became friends
Hmm.
with all have had some form of
Traumatic
sexual
background.
abuse,
Yeah.
and that was the job that would support them as single mothers to, again,
Hmm.
here, if men only wanted one thing, then they rather be in control on the stage, some separation, kind of that
Yeah.
kind of hierarchy, and get paid anyway. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So I get that. So now you know that some people are going to listen to this and kind of go, I want to hear your stripper story, Ray, like how that happened. I'll give the short version. I I've I'm a musician also, and I wanted to become a rock star like everyone else out there who is a musician. And it was a career in where I didn't know what else to do, and it paid well, and I wanted to be in a recording studio. So I bought a recording studio with the money. There's a whole, new path I took with that. But in that process of being a dancer, that kind of led to me, my own psychological problems and therapy and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't, I got into it more as it was a lucrative thing. And it
Hmm.
happened in a strange way. I was in Cabo and I forget, it was like 1992, I think maybe 93, I don't know. And they offered $200 for, any man to go in a cage and dance into his underwear. And I was hammered and I won. And I just like lights went off like, oh, this is easy. And
Yeah.
so that's what happened. It was just a business move. So not much more to it. But yeah, were you going to continue with your story? I didn't know.
I mean that's kind of like, and then obviously like it took a long time to get out of that. it was my daughter that actually changed my whole life.
Mm,
Because when I became pregnant at 30, I just foresaw that the dad wasn't going to be in the picture.
mhm,
And I was sitting with that choice again, and I was just like, can I live with myself if I don't have this baby and then I can never have kids again? And I couldn't because I
mhm.
always wanted to be a mom. And that day, actually, I walked out of the club and never went back. I even left everything in the locker and I started my life over from scratch.
It's amazing. That's a great story for, women to look at if they're like in a challenge. You know,
Yeah.
let, I I appreciate that. So I like to talk about like so there's stages of healing trauma and where man or woman you can approach it a certain way. So I'm just going to make this up. Maybe it's even written in my book this way, but number one, it's just recognizing it. Like I am running on these programs in which I was subjected to, when I was younger, such as you mentioned, meeting men who probably weren't healthy for you and you didn't know it, but that's all you witnessed from your mother, right?
Yeah, she was in and out of them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like it might be, well, it's all unconscious.
And it's
So
like
it's
all familiar, like even
yeah.
though it's not safe or good, but it's familiar, right? So you
Mhm.
gravitate towards it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's breaking the pattern. It's just recognizing the pattern. Doesn't mean you healed your trauma. It's just recognizing, oh my God, I am in a pattern, you
Hmm.
know? Uh, so number two is as you start talking about say the past. Oh, I was molested or I was physically abused. So you start sharing the story, and it might be with a rabbi, it might be with a friend, it might be with this someone you feel comfortable with. That doesn't mean it's healed, but the
Hmm.
information starts to come out of like what influenced you. Then the third path is where you start to recognizing the beliefs or that
Yeah.
were created from the trauma, like how you might be very hyper vigilant to
Hmm.
untrusting. So
Yeah.
you notice that, oh, now I have all these survival patterns based off of what happened to me so I can prevent being hurt again. Then there's a fourth step, which is what you and I are going to talk about here. And that is the fourth step is where you actually start changing your story. You start
Mm.
changing your script. You start living your life differently. And how that's different than recognizing your survival mechanisms and the ways that you've learned to guard yourself is that you now have to unlearn that. So
Hmm.
many people will, if they go see a traditional therapist, if they haven't really embodied or integrated like the new beliefs, they still live a life of hypervigilance to
Oh
where they
yeah.
still attract
Yeah.
betrayal, to where they might have a good reason, like they'll say, that's my trauma, or they'll say, I just have trust issues, but their life is not changing. So
Mm.
it's now where they might not feel like a victim like they were before. Every day is a struggle, though. Every day is a freaking struggle still, so nothing changes. And that's the part where you talked about, Cassandra, in the beginning of this, where you said, I understood the story, what Wayne Dyer was saying,
Yeah, I
but
did.
it irritated me. You know what I mean? Because you're not out of it. You're in
Yeah.
phase one, two, or three.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like, and most people who
And
are
then it's
still,
like, well, how do you do that? That's great. Thank you. Just like the cliche, like, oh, you need to love yourself more.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
great. How do I do that? Thanks. And then you
yeah.
get BS answers. Yeah.
Well, when I still see those, like when people, I can see someone's in trauma and they're in their trauma language, and if someone just says, you just need to love yourself. I just want to say, you know what? That's like almost telling a person just to
That's
fuck
like
off.
slapping them in the face. Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
pleasant. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we wanted to talk about. And so the script is this, and I'll share my experience from it, from what I understand the script is that, you know, you've heard this before, and that is basically neurons that fire together wired together. You've heard that
Oh
probably
yeah.
from Joe Dispenza and so forth. And basically, what that means is that if we like are walking down the street and we see someone look a certain way, ethnicity, to
Yeah.
look or smell like the perpetrator that you had experienced, your body can go off. And you might
Hmm.
say, well, it's my intuition, or like,
Instincts.
what if it's actually like survival instincts, like you just
Yeah.
shared, and your body is just putting you into this kind of hypervigilance when nothing is happening. This person is safe. And so therefore, while you maybe understand why you went through trauma, and but you're still perceiving everybody and everything as a threat.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so the story has to change. Do you want to add to that?
Gosh, so that's an interesting place to be because I actually have an amazing alarm system that has saved my life
Hmm.
because of it. Um, and I mean, that kind of brings up how people who have gone through what I've gone through over and over again feel like they're a magnet for these bad people or
Hmm.
these bad experiences. Because I've definitely felt that way. It's like once it had, because then all of a sudden kids at school were touching me, and at Latchkey someone was touching me, and so it wasn't just, the main person. But
I mean,
um,
can I? So what Cassandra is saying is that even though it happened at home, for some strange reason, she was also attracting the same types of experiences and patterns that happen in home with random strangers, people who shouldn't be doing this, correct?
yeah, I wouldn't say attracting because it makes it sound like I made that happen somehow.
Okay.
But like these experiences just kept happening in my world for
Hmm.
sure. Um, and I don't know 100% how that works, but I do know that even with people I work with, it's like not just one time. They've definitely experienced multiple violations.
Hmm.
Or again, it is a pattern in relationships, the type of people they end up in
Hmm.
relationship with. But I don't want to blame the victim because
Hmm.
perpetrators are need to be held responsible too. Um, but so you're going back to what you were saying, walking down the street and the neurons firing. Um, and it could be a healthy person.
Hmm.
Yeah, so my experience has been like if I haven't fully processed some memories,
Hmm.
uh, and I still feel certain things in my body when I think of those memories, anything similar will fire the same things off. And so it makes the lens that I'm looking through not so clear. So I'm not seeing super clearly. So it just let me know that I had more work to do on those events, those moments in time where I did go through something traumatic. And the more that I did that, the clearer the lens got so I could see things more accurately is the way I kind of interpret that with my journey.
Yes, you brought up something about the attract thing, and this is an area where I've seen people talk about law of attraction.
Oh yeah, and it's
Um,
pissed me off. Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I noticed that area where it could be touchy, and I
Yeah.
when you said what you shared, I can see also for yourself and women out there. I'm assuming you work primarily with
Yeah.
women,
Women. Mhm.
that that would upset them. Question I have for you would be this. Um, if you truly understood how certain experiences and players, when I say players, characters in this,
Characters.
yeah,
Hmm.
characters, even archetypes, if you understood how something vibrationally about you was trying to learn something, like break through something like a this was your hero's journey, and it wasn't something that you needed to repeat again and again and again. And you found kind of like the the key for that lock to open it up so it would change forever and you never had that experience. Would you say you'd want that key?
Oh, for sure. I'd want that key. Get me out of that hell. Yeah,
All right.
for
So,
sure. Yeah.
okay. So with that key, what if the key you're carrying was also the key in which, for whatever reason, would magnetize the opportunity for you to be face to face with that perpetrator, but to actually beat him, to finally like surpass that experience so you can evolve and grow into who you've become today. Like imagine that for a moment, meaning that
Hmm.
this key is like a magnet and you can it is all it's the key to heal and go through that door that you haven't gone through women and like your family haven't either, to all the collective women are ready to go through that door, but it also has a lot of responsibility. It's like
Hmm.
you holding that, it's also kind of like like Lords of the Rings
Hmm.
ring
Yeah,
where
yeah. With
this
the ring,
ring
my
you don't
precious. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, like, so you know how like somehow it's got this power and yet it can be seductive?
Yeah, it was definitely seducing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But what if, and what I'm attempting to do is take you on a journey. I've never done this before because I'm trying to get to the other side, even this conversation. If you if you knew that you had the power, but having the power would also recreate the opportunity to push through this, then would you be more comfortable saying, yes, this key is creating these opportunities for me to heal this key, this experience, something I haven't been through. I used the word attract. You didn't like that.
Yeah, I
So I'm
didn't
trying
like
to
that
find,
word. Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to use a different word
Yeah,
that will
yeah.
hold in, not just for you, but other people who are going to listen to this or watch this. What if that would be the way to reframe this so you can heal this forever? How would that feel?
Yeah, I like that, except for what bothers me about it, right, is, and I guess this goes into spiritual stuff, right? Because what you believe will determine how you look at this. What about children? I was 5.
Hmm.
So did I just was I just born with this thing wanting to create this experience? Like there's so much debate around this, right?
Hmm.
Because like children are getting hurt.
Hmm. Yes, this is an uncomfortable, this is what comes up almost all the time, even with Abraham and
Hmm.
other channelers out there.
Yeah, and they don't
And
have good answers if you
well,
ask.
people don't really like the answer.
Yeah,
They don't
that too.
they don't like the answer. That's really
Yeah,
hard for them to grasp.
yeah.
So I'll I will give the answer that I've heard.
I
And
probably heard it too, and I sit with it like, huh,
mm,
okay.
yeah.
I'm not, I can sit with like
Hmm.
polarity and I can sit with other ideas even if I don't agree with them. So
By
I've
the
done the
way,
work.
just know that I'm not trying know that I'm not trying to be right, but I want to see
Yeah.
what happens with this because it's about changing that script also. Remember how you said that I used to be repelled by Wayne Dyer's
Oh yeah, for
quote,
sure.
okay?
Hmm. Yeah.
What if you are repelled as well by something you haven't moved past yet or have gained enough awareness to not be polarized by it, that it's a level of consciousness to understand yourself and understand all things from a different lens to where you finally are no longer triggered by anything or anyone like that,
I
even
feel
like
like I'm definitely close to
yeah.
that because I'm able to like look at things that before I could never look at, like even the
Hmm.
craziness going on in the world right now.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely getting closer to that.
Yeah.
And I'm always searching for truth and answers for sure. I just know that how we word things, because other people might not be as far along in their healing journey.
Hmm.
And I never want to make a victim feel like it was their fault that somebody um, hurt them.
Yeah, most people, again, I say most, not all, most people who will still feel some resonance to the victims
Hmm.
that way, to where there's someone hearing this and already triggered by me and bothered
Hmm.
by my intentions to bring some peace and love to the experience, is because they are still somewhat in that resonance. And what I mean by that is I have worked with over 500 women to help them heal sexual abuse. So the reason why I know this conversation really well is because I used to be in it deep and working with trauma. I stopped doing this and like doing that type of work probably 2013.
Oh, that's when my
Um,
doctor was born. Yeah.
yeah, so it's also when more women started becoming coaches, women
Hmm.
became more um, mistrusting of male coaches or therapists. And so I even used to lead women's circles and groups as a man of all things.
Hmm.
Um, and that I understand that journey, that path, and the reason to have that hypervigilance, because again, remember we talked about how still today women and children are being hurt, and
Hmm.
there are a lot of men not being held accountable.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful this conversation for the mere fact that I'm a male
Hmm.
communicating with you. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
understand that sensitivity. If anything, what I would love to instill in all people is how amazing personal responsibility feels in our bodies. And when we finally take absolute accountability for how we feel to move through anything. So I would never tell a person that they keep attracting these type of narcissistic men. I would not tell a person that your greatness from the perspective of them being consciously aware. The way I communicate is more like this, is that what if you had a power to change your script? What if it, in the human mind, rape to early trauma was an opportunity for you to completely take your power back in this lifetime, to not outsource who you are to men, to patriarchy, to systems, to finally own your life. You know, kind of like what you shared, Cassandra, with when you're a dancer and you walked away and you thought about that man and how he is. And you know, making this decision, his, is getting away your power, you know, but you had to make the decision within yourself, which I would say is your conversation with God. Like,
Hmm.
can I do this? So the conversation is more about in those situations with women is that how is it that I ignore the red flags early on? Why don't I have stronger boundaries to
Oh, for sure. Those pieces definitely play a
what,
part.
yeah, what part of me feels guilty for something that's not mine? What what am I not willing to lean into? All these things. And then it goes back to,
Mhm.
well, when I was 5, how the hell was I supposed to know about
Yeah,
boundaries?
exactly.
Yeah, when I was
You're
5,
supposed to be protected when you're a
yeah,
child.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 5, what how am I supposed to push off this man who's 35 years old and bigger than me?
Hmm.
But the thing is, if you look at consciousness and you look at the soul beyond the meat jacket, meaning who we are physically as human beings, that our soul is boundless, that our sense of self is boundless, that our confidence is boundless. then we might be able to kind of recognize that trauma and what's going on is for us to catapult like who we are, like to evolve. But most people, men and women, don't, they're going to be triggered by what I just said because they're not there. And they might even hear what I
Yeah.
just
I
said
kind of
as
get
if,
what you're saying a little bit because
yeah,
maybe this could help them, but I could tell you that back in the day that this pissed me off too.
I know, I get it. I know that. I know
But
that.
it's like the Pandora's box, right?
Yeah.
It's like opening of Pandora's box, and it's like it's the gifts are within the crap,
Yeah. It's,
really.
it really,
Like,
so
yeah,
it,
it took me a long time to get to this point of true appreciation for all the shit I went through. Um, because I was super hard on the victim and I was super hard and it's not fair and wishing
mhm,
things were different and easier and well, how come I didn't have this or that? Like I was in it deep for a long time. And no, I didn't appreciate anything I went through, right? And you can't force that on someone. It has to be a genuine point of arrival of like,
mhm,
just like I know that if I hadn't gone through all of these fucking things, I would not be who I am today. And
mhm,
I wouldn't be able to reach or connect with the people I'm able to reach or connect with. And
mhm,
so, like, in hindsight, I can see how all these things supported me in this journey to be able to serve the people I'm serving today in my
mhm.
purpose. But 10 years ago, fuck you if you would have said that to me.
Oh yeah, no, I want you to, the thing is,
Seriously.
I want you to say these things. I actually want
Yeah.
you to say these things out loud with me to know the space in which you can feel these things. Because I have, I've literally have helped many women heal this stuff forever. I'm on women's sides and I'm not some feminist. I'm not whatever. I just, I have a very strong spiritual philosophy and it's because many factors. Number one, I've had two near-death experiences. One when I was 6, and another one when I was 16, where I died and I came back. So I entered that world. I entered the spiritual world. And there might be doubters out there, and I don't give a shit, but I'd never have had death anxiety. But I can see that truly who we are is in a different frequency, meaning that,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, we're
more,
not this Tupperware. We're
yeah.
not Tupperware. This
So,
Tupperware.
so so I literally can like feel things, see things, and so I'm less attached to my human experience. I know, and it's not like I'm not ambitious. It's not like I still, I understand why I'm here, but it's that even Christians or people who say they're spiritual when it comes to children, when it comes to like, yeah, like torture and all this stuff, it's really hard to like grasp, to accept. Like even like, why would God do this? Like why, if God is
That was
exist?
where I was at. I
Hmm.
I had to work through the layers of being angry.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I get that. But
Yeah.
that's also based in like, if we think the human experience is real, like every belief we have, like has been created somewhere through us
Oh, for
by
sure.
others.
Or passed down through
Yeah,
family. Yeah.
generational programming and so forth.
Mhm.
So, as an example, like people will ask or say that they won't start at the root of, say, problems. Like I saw you say something, and it was a post. Was it of Jamie Lee Curtis? Was it something like that? Or I don't know. It was about aging. The post was about
Oh, I
how,
saw your post about that.
okay,
Yeah. I
as an
did see your
example.
post. Yeah, yeah.
So both of them but more women. Women are dealing with aging more than men. And women will say, well, you guys, when you become older, you become more distinguished. I hear that all the time from my friends, like you with your white hair, Ray, you look handsome. I said, but that's not absolute truth. Well, this look, but we've created that through consensus reality
Yeah, it's
agreement.
like a mass
Yeah.
belief
Yeah.
system. Yeah, it's like
Through,
this like mass agreement or something, like an unconscious thing. Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
you go to other cultures that like it's not true. Elderly people are respected, they're not discarded, they're really important, they serve a purpose in a community like that. So there's a lot of programming that we have and that we accept as
Oh,
real
for
and
sure.
true.
There's so much programming. It's pushed in media, it's pushed in books,
Well,
it's pushed in video games, it's pushed
well,
through
one of these
family.
is how we either minimize pain or glorify it being like more. So, as an example, when it comes to a car accident, death of your father or mother early on in life, to a divorce, whatever, people, like most humans, because they haven't done their inner work, and you have like traditional psychologists who write a bunch of books. These are from people who haven't moved through their own shit, but they create the idea and
Yeah.
stories
Yeah, there's
of
definitely a difference
like
in that.
if you go through a divorce, you're going to have a hard life. Look at so and so. Here's proof. And then you have another person who went through some divorce and like he's thriving. Why? Like it's
He didn't
there's
buy into
these
that belief. Yeah.
yeah, there's beliefs. So when it comes to healing through sexual trauma,
Yeah.
being violated by someone who's supposed to love you. So
Hmm.
even that belief, listen to that. My father and mother are supposed to love me. Did you know that's a belief?
That is a belief. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And many
Yeah.
people go
And
out
it
there
does
going,
cause a lot of pain too, because then you're like,
I
well, I
know.
didn't get that.
Mother's Day, Father's Day, I didn't have a mother or father. He
Yeah,
or she
it
was a
does cause
narcissist or an
pain.
asshole.
Hmm.
Like there's this, and it would be great. It'd be a preference point,
Yeah,
a
fairy
preference.
tales also implant a bunch of beliefs that cause a lot of pain with relationship as well.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I am a good father and I'm very trusting and I do show up and so did my father show up. But and I remember being a teenager and many of my male friends hanging out with me because they thought my dad was awesome. My dad bullshitted. He was funny. He was caring. He was an older dad like I am. And I saw a lot of other my male friends, like their parents were like just not relatable.
Yeah,
And I thought many of them were shitty parents, you know, like
yeah,
they just had kids to have children. I think, see, I have a belief if you have a child, you should want to have a child. If you
yeah.
like
I agree. Yeah.
you're
And you
signing
should
up.
want to engage and hang out with them and be their
Yeah.
friend and help them
If
out and
if you're
things like
bringing
that.
this little human in the world, like guide him or her. All
Yeah.
right. So that's a belief I have. However, there are many people having children who don't even love themselves. There's many people just do it because their parents did it or they didn't pull out quick enough. You know, it just happens. You know, all these different things. My point of this is I wrote in my book like secondary gains and like harder issues and move past is that when it happens from a family member in which you created the belief that out of all the people, that person should have protected me.
Yeah. And
And
then they
because
did
of that
it.
belief alone, it's harder to heal that trauma. I would say more if you can get the place to recognize this was a really hurt, dark, evil, fucked up human being, even if he was my dad, my uncle, whatever. Leave it at that. That's enough. Don't don't put the he should have done this. Don't say he should have known better. You don't go to the place of how that person was shown up as a human being. They hated themselves. You might say they hurt other people, they hurt themselves. Like, but when you start separating it, like with from the perspective that I should have been able to trust him more, or my mother should have protected me, or something like that. While there's some preferences in there, like that would have been great because it didn't happen, accept it didn't happen and see for what it is. My mother was an alcoholic. My mother was a hurt individual. Like, just accept their behavior for what it was to heal your trauma, to really like recognize that these people, for whatever reason, I got the set of cards to be born in this family with some fucked up parents. who didn't love themselves and they didn't know how to love me. Okay, now I need to move forward in my life. And so when we start putting parents on a pedestal to this hope and dreams of a hurt individual, it is harder to heal that trauma. You can see I just got passionate about this because this is what it's taken me to help break through like a lot of trauma because of that strong belief system. I couldn't, if you're still saying, I can't believe this happened to me because it was my father,
Hmm.
there's some residue in there that's not going to heal.
Yeah.
You need to go to my fucking father did this. It
Hmm.
happened.
And just
Boom.
be, yeah, I
Done.
also, I love getting clients to be angry and fully angry too. Like
Yes.
there's a place for that.
Yeah.
Rage, I like rage tapping with them around stuff like that and just letting them say things they never got to say to person and stuff. I just feel like what you're saying, the part to get to of like separating that, I don't feel like that's the first step though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the first step. I think the first step, like the step I notice that I go through with myself or clients is one, really processing whatever the event is or
Mm-hmm.
events, because it could be multiple, right? It could have happened so many times, especially like the ones that are still potent in your system. When you think of them, they still make
Mm-hmm.
you feel things. And then a lot of times what happens is the anger will come up and let
Mm-hmm.
like allow the space for the anger. And then what comes up after that is like grief, the
Mm-hmm.
grief about them not being the parent or caregiver that they really longed for or wish they had, because that also is a part. And then from that space, I feel like the separation is more easily able to be had because they went through all these
Mm-hmm.
steps to get there. I didn't have genuine compassion for, like, when I tried to force compassion towards my mom before I did all this other things, like, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was still kind of bypassing myself and my experience. And so
Mm-hmm.
through going through these steps and then getting to this place of feeling more peace about the whole experience, then
Mm-hmm.
I had just naturally more ability to have compassion and see my mom's inner child
Yeah.
for what she is and the things she went through and how she just wanted to be loved. And she kept looking for love in all the wrong places, in these men. But I couldn't arrive there sooner
Yeah. You just spelled out what I shared earlier. I said
in a
it's
different way, probably. Yeah.
well, it's you think you wouldn't I wouldn't start. How about this one? I hear like I remember my friend I forgot her name, but she had some guy like try to grope her and stuff, and she ran out of his car. And a buddy of mine like did the landmark coaching stuff, and she reached out to him, and he like started off with how did you attract that?
Oh my God, I hate it. Yeah, I went to this thing
Oh,
that was supposed to train trauma, and I was like, this is going to traumatize people. What are you teaching them?
yeah,
Yeah.
so she reached out to me, and of course, like I went to connecting. Even with you, I know you shared that story many times about what had happened to you, but I still said sorry.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like so because I don't want it to be like I'm just like so clinical and desensitized now that I'm not human. So it's first share it's first now like recognizing this happened to me, then it's talking about it, like, and then
Yep.
the third part might be with a coach or a container where you can just release that shit. But
Hmm.
what you're talking about is, or we're both talking about is, I really love that you share this, is that you've you've gone through the anger. You've gone through,
I
you
allowed
move,
myself to be fucking angry. Yeah.
yeah, you also move past the point where I was talking about where people try to protect their parents, or
Oh yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah.
they'll try to
Mhm.
communicate like I and
Or
a
they
whole
feel wrong or bad to be
yes,
angry or cuss at the parent. Yeah.
yeah. And you'll see people think they're healed, and they'll say, "I've been talking to my mom's. I've been talking to my mom. I'm fine. I've been talking to her in 10 years."
Yeah, and you just feel that like energy around that. Yeah.
By the way, it's okay to not talk to your parents. It's
Yeah,
just
sometimes that is healthier for sure. There's definitely.
But
Yeah.
there's definitely the energy of angst.
Hmm.
And what you mentioned that you arrived to was just understand that was, I didn't even get to that, is that when you do finally get to that space, you recognize like, oh, they were a hurt child too.
Hmm.
But I would
Yeah.
never tell
You
somebody,
can't rush that process for sure.
oh, in fact, I don't even
That's
mention
another
it.
slap in the face. Don't do that,
No,
people.
I
To
don't
those
even mention it.
yeah,
I don't,
no,
I don't
you
say
don't need
anything
to.
like, I don't even go, hey, when we're done with this, you're going to look at your mom and dad as an angelic presence that was in your life. No, not at all.
Mm-mm, no.
So, but, well, I think this has been great. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's anything else you want to share or add to this.
I mean, what did pop in my mind while we've been talking is just like it's great to have all these conversations about how to heal, trauma or work through trauma or gain your power back from trauma and this and that. But like, w- what about the conversations around people not becoming predators in the first place?
That's a whole new conversation.
It is a whole new conversation, but yeah, I would love to see you do one on that.
We can do that. I'll share a little. Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah, because that would be a powerful conversation. Because
You remember there's a
what? Go
part I
ahead.
talked about the roots.
Yeah, I like
So,
talking about the roots too.
okay. So what's really interesting is that people think it's innocent, but you'll see posts of beautiful women, and I'm on some Facebook groups where it could be pictures from the 80s or 90s. Like, remember this woman? And, you'll hear guys say, I'll do her. I'll do
Mhm.
her. Like,
Yeah, the rhetoric, the locker room rhetoric, or the guy talk, or the bro talk. Yeah.
and I'm thinking about like, when did men and women, but I've say more men, get the idea they are to get something from a woman,
Hmm.
like their body, their
It's
sensuality.
that programming, the conditioning and programming that's been passed through the
Yes.
generations. Yeah.
So that sexual energy is in the second chakra, which could be used for creativity and movement
Mm,
and
yeah.
dance and
For sure.
create better things. But it has to start in the early programming with boys,
Hmm.
children in general, but with boys.
Yeah.
So, like as an example, the way that I teach,
Even video games are over sexualized.
yeah, yeah,
Like I would like look at them like, why?
yeah.
Why?
So the whole getting, like as if women or the feminine is
The
to fulfill
objects.
you rather than
Mhm.
your own femininity, your own feelings, your own resourcing.
Yeah,
And so,
and then also they grow up to be men who don't know how to cope with their emotions and they use women as a binky.
yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like,
Yeah.
so I talk about that in my parenting book a
Yay.
little bit.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
But
All right.
I'll
So get
share,
the parenting book, people. Get the parenting book.
but I'll share some things that I know there'll be some judgmental parents out there because of how it makes them feel or their perceptions of this is that I have boys, okay? And a way that we've come to know at their level how old they are, they're 10 and 11, Max turns 12 next week, Yeshua turns 11 in November, is that they have been exposed to, say, their genitals in a kind of more comical jackass way, like Jackass, like Johnny Knoxville, where these guys don't ever act sexual. They're almost like, I have a penis, I'm a guy. They're kind of goofy.
Hmm.
So there's no sexual shame with their body parts. Kind of like it's just, it's there. It's what I use to go to the bathroom with and so forth. To when it comes to women or like how they see me show up for my partner or the co-parent and whatever, is there's a lot of respect and reverence and where how I do it. I model it. But not just that, is they don't have that sexual energy yet. Like, mean, like they're not,
Yeah.
like Max is starting to go through puberty now. He's actually
Mhm.
taller than me now. He's going to be
That's so
so,
crazy. That's
yes,
awesome.
he's
Yeah.
huge for his age. I can see his innocence,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of teenage girls like him, and they think he's cool. He's got this confidence and so forth. And he has had some girls say, I love you, to like be a little forward with him. And I've asked the question, what do they love about you? Do
Mm-hmm.
they know you?
Mm-hmm.
And he is starting to think about that.
Yeah.
And he is differentiating at a young age infatuation,
Mm-hmm.
fantasy.
Yeah, I like that
And
you're bringing this up actually. That's really cool because my that just makes me think of my daughter.
yeah.
She had a little boyfriend, they were
Mm,
just best friends, boyfriend. And she ended up breaking up with him. And I kind of like, because they're still friends or whatever. And I was like, kind of asking her, like, why did you guys break up? He still likes you. And she was like, because he said weird things about women.
mhm,
Um, and like she shared some of the things he had said about women. And I was like, oh.
mhm,
I was like, yeah, those are not okay things, right? It pointed to misogyny. And I was
mhm.
just so proud of her for being so smart and just seeing that as a red flag and like, I don't want to be around that.
So your daughter indirectly is shaping the collective, and more boys and girls need to have strong boundaries.
Yeah. Oh,
More of them
she's
need to.
had strong boundaries since she was little. Like, I never forced hugs or kisses on her.
Mhm,
She's always been like that. She never sat on Santa Claus's lap. Like, and
mhm.
it made me question, like, why are we putting our kids on this strange man's lap for Christmas? Like,
There you
she
go.
made me like
Okay, that's an
think about
example.
things. Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
people subscribe to that. I said
And
the
they
same
force
thing.
their kids to do things.
And
Yeah.
even though they're crying, it's all
Yeah.
about the parents getting a picture
And
for
that makes them
December.
lose sense of their power. Like, oh, I have to do this because, oh, I'm supposed to. Yeah.
This is good. I'm glad that you brought that up. Even
Yeah.
Max, he's never sat on Santa Claus's lap. Well, I'm Jewish anyway, but the point was just,
Yeah.
I go, but I've called it out where I'm like, Max, I go, do you think, like, look at this picture. We've been at the mall. I go, all these children are lining up.
We don't even know who that Santa Claus
Yeah.
is.
Like, I go, what makes him so special? He's
Mhm.
just wearing a red outfit
Yeah.
and so forth. He's like, I don't know. I'm teaching Max to question all of like these supposedly social norms.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
All
cool.
right. Well, and on that, and how do people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at C_love_Lambert.
Well, we'll put the links here because I'll share this on my YouTube channel and other places also. And mine is my name, Raydoktor.com, Doktor.com. That's my real last name. And I'll have links also to share. And I am on Amazon. Is that what your book is also?
Yeah, it's on Amazon as well as
You want to
Barnes
pull
and
up your
Noble.
book?
Yeah, yeah.
All it.
Into the light, baby.
You can get
Yeah.
mine at Barnes and Nobles also. So, all
Yeah.
right, it's good chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, I'll talk to you later.